Hi, everybody. Sorry about the other video where there was no audio. So I'm going to try to do this a different way. I don't have to write anything. So I'm just going to be talking over it. So uh, the big question for this lesson is, was math constructed? Was math invented? Was math built? Or was math discovered? So what we mean by constructed or invented means that a previous thing did not exist before that thing was produced. So, like the Constitution of the United States, we didn't have a Constitution of the United States before that one was written. Or Gutenberg's printing press, everything was handwritten until Gutenberg's printing press was invented, and then it was around. So, you can take inventions and you can modify them, but these inventions, these things that were built, didn't exist before they were actually built and manufactured. But to be discovered means that it was around before we found it, before it was detected. So, Antarctica was a continent on the Earth before we actually were able to locate it. So it existed before we knew about it. Same thing about the DNA double helix. We couldn't see it, it was way too small. But then, when we got the more powerful microscopes, we were able to detect it. It was discovered. We didn't invent the DNA double helix, we didn't invent Antarctica. So that's the difference between something being invented, constructed, versus being something being discovered. So the question is, what is math? Which category does math fall into? So if math was constructed, some things to think about would be, well, how can 2 plus 2 equal 4 not previously exist? Let's think. We get caveman, some way, way back in time before numbers were invented, before language was invented. Could they not drop 2 apples down and somebody else dropped 2 apples down and now they have 4 apples? Could that not already have been a thing? They may not know 2, they may not know 4, they may not know addition, but could it be around if we didn't have numbers, if we didn't have language and that kind of thing? So another thing to think about is if math is constructed the same way artists construct art. So some artists draw what they can see, but there are going to be other artists that stuff comes from their imagination. So if we do something like that, if we can construct mathematics the way in our imaginations and think about it and just say, oh well, then this should work. How could a math question be right or wrong? Art can't really be right or wrong. It's just somebody's perception. So how can we make math right or wrong? If it was discovered, some things to think about. Well, where does math exist? We are on Earth, in our solar system, in the Milky Way galaxy. Does math exist in other galaxies? Is it at the center of the galaxy? Is it in a black hole? Is it at the subatomic level? Does math exist there? So, and would we, if we looked there, would we find it? How do we discover math? So if math is to be discovered, how do you discover it? And my personal opinion, I think it comes from asking big questions, things that you don't know. How can you make it better? How can you figure it out? Or how can I just be able to communicate this idea? I think a lot of that is built into that how do we discover math question. And then why does the real world obey mathematical laws? So Sir Isaac Newton came up with the theory of gravity, the law of gravity, and he came up with formulas and stuff to model that pull of gravity. So why does the real world obey mathematical models that we can, in this case, if we're talking about math being discovered, that we can uncover those relationships? If we discover mathematics, where do we look for it? So, and that kind of goes into the how do we discover? So, if we're going to discover it, where do we look? And so you're talking about those people that all, from ancient history, they were looking in different places. And that's really what the class is about. It, is how, if math is to be discovered, how did those people do it? And what did they do? And what were their lives like? And things like that. So, was math constructed? Was it discovered? Maybe it's a little bit of both. Maybe it depends on the mathematics that you're looking at. Some of it you can kind of see around you in the natural world. So, maybe that is something that's more built. Whereas there are other things that we can't see. So, maybe those are a little bit more discovered. I don't know. So if it is a little bit of both, our counting and the natural numbers, which the natural numbers are just our 1, 2, 3, 4, numbers you use to count, are they the start of arithmetic? Is that where arithmetic began? If so, is this the beginning of mathematics? Okay, so that's the question. Is math invented or discovered? It's a big question. Nobody truly knows the answer. There are people that argue about it. So, in your assignment, I want to know what you think. So, you're going to be reading some quotes and you're going to be maybe doing a little bit more research. And I want to know what you think. And maybe at the beginning of the video, you thought one way, and then maybe after some of these videos, you think a different way. I want to hear about that. All right, I'm going to post this video up, and I am so sorry that you were watching a video that didn't have sound. If that happens in the future, please let me know so I can fix it. I don't know. I'm going to figure out how to get out of this. So this is the end of the video, so you can stop watching while I figure out how to quit recording. Maybe, maybe not. There we go.